And I got a special guest with us today. We got Tommy from WrestleCast.
What's up, heels and baby faces? We are here, and it's gonna be a good day.
Yes, it is. We've got. I'm pretty sure you got to know who this guy is.
You got to, man.
Yeah, if you don't, I mean, why do you even follow us?
Yes.
But anyway, this guy had created things for cartoons that you grew up with. I grew up with Dragon Ball Z, Power Rangers, X-Men. He even did current stuff. The Thundermans. He's done. I mean, it's just the list goes on.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it's an amazing career.
Yes. Keeping him any longer, we're gonna have him join the room, and we got Mr. Ron Wasserman.
Close.
Wasserman.
Hey, I'm not that well known.
Sorry about that. Yeah, pronouncing names, I have a little trouble on those.
That's all right. It's a complicated name.
So we got you into the show today. We kind of want to know, a lot of people don't know who you are, and the next set, if they don't, then that's another story. But when you grew up and when you were younger and you were in high school, did you start off with putting bands together to get into music, or what got you into music started?
I started actually playing when I was 3 and writing when I was 5. And then most of school, I just played piano all my life. And in high school, I was on sound crews. So I had keys to the whole school. So I would cut class and go to the auditorium and play.
That's amazing.
I spent my life in that because I had I think a Yamaha Grand, and I just roll that thing out. It was stored to the left of the stage, and just I would play that thing all day. And then every 5 weeks or so, I'd show up for a class. They knew what I was doing. They'd give me a test. They'd say, "Do not do that anymore, Mr.
So, I promise not to do that anymore." Yes, 5 weeks later.
Oh man. Well, that's cool.
So yeah, I was doing that, and then actually thought I was going to go into photography, but I wasn't that great at it. So I decided I better start joining bands and figure out how this works. I knew nothing, absolutely nothing. And then I joined a band and start writing and start producing and then start recording them, and then the band would fall apart as bands always do.
Of course.
Yeah.
There's always somebody doing drugs, screws everything up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or the greed, whichever comes first. But
one usually leads to the other. So.
Yeah, that's true too.
They do drugs and they get married and it's over.
Also, one usually leads to the other.
I did the opposite. I got married. Then I needed drugs.
Oh man.
Oh wow. Sorry.
So which band did you look up to that really inspired you to music?
Oh, it has to be like Black Sabbath and Led Zeppelin and Pink Floyd. And
my wife would love you.
Yeah.
Nice. So you said Black Sabbath. I'm surprised she didn't materialize in the room. She doesn't even hear it, but I'm surprised she didn't just show up. So.
I know. What other band in the world has a song that could start with
Fair enough. That's a very good point.
Black Sabbath. That's Ozzy Osbourne coughing.
That's true. That's true.
Nice.
Probably made him millions of dollars at a time each time he did that cough.
Yeah, he's probably like, it's a good thing I coughed.
So with you getting into the music biz and composing, eventually working your way to where you got there, did you have any of the bands that you got to meet down the road and, your younger self was kind of like, I'm getting to meet Eddie Vedder or, Eddie Van Halen?
Yeah, there was times because with my ex-wife, we were signed to Universal. This is around 99 to 2002. And so we met a lot of cool people, ended up on the road with like Duncan Sheik. He was really cool. I was never really a fan until I met him. Then I was a fanboy. And a couple other people. And we just met tons of people. And yeah, met Eddie Van Halen because his wife, Valerie Bertinelli at the time, was a fan of the band. So I ended up at the house and I hung out with him kind of for almost 3 months.
That's really cool.
Nice.
That's really cool.
Yeah. And he handed me a guitar one day and said, show me how you played that Power Ranger riff. And I went over to his grand piano and played
He's like, how was that even possible?
So you got to meet Wolf. I mean, did you get to hear the song that he dedicated to his dad?
Yeah, I did.
It brought me to tears when I heard that
Yeah,
song.
I thought it was beautiful. Yeah,
Yeah.
I knew Wolfie. Yeah, met him
Nice.
several times when he was young. He and Valerie would come up to our house when we had our son and hang out. And then later on, when I was doing the show Hot in Cleveland that Valerie Bertinelli was on, then he'd show up every once in a while.
Nice. That is so cool, man.
Yeah, it was
So
fun.
so when you got out of high school, you're working with bands. How did you get your first, I guess, when you got your foot in the door, to start kind of little this, little bit of that?
It really wasn't until one of the bands I was in was with a guy named Ron Kanan, and he was working at Saban Entertainment. And he brought me in to engineer and mix for one of the composers one night in their studio. And we sat around, and I was living on credit cards at the time and had, I don't know, tens of thousands of dollars of debt, and was driving a car that probably sort of ran once in a while.
Dang.
And I found out that he made $450 to write 3 1-minute music cues, which took him about an hour. And I said, I got to find out about this business. This may be my way, because the band thing, although it's super fun, although I don't really love playing live, but it's super fun. But it's a pain in the ass. You're schlepping your shit all over town. You got to pay for rehearsals. You have to pay to play at clubs. The record company people are generally, well, back then, I'm sure they're even worse now, just complete idiots. Which I got them later on, which was great. So I spent about 3 years kind of submitting stuff. Nothing really went, and working for the other composers. And then the producers started kind of shaping me into and giving me tips on how to score as opposed to the format of songwriting. And then in came X-Men one day.
Yeah.
And that took about 2 weeks to get that theme done. From what I remember, it was kind of a nightmare. And from that day on, then I was in. I officially got in the door when that was written.
Nice.
And then
so
worked straight for from that night in 1992 until June of 2018, with 2 1-week breaks. The workload was just off the charts.
Wow.
And then it just became a normal workload until this writer's strike hit. So it was down to a normal 30, 40 hours a week instead of 70 and 80 and 7 days a week.
Jeez Louise.
I was happy to take the break.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
Like COVID, yes, a break.
It's like, finally a break.
Is that wrong?
Now we're on the tail end of it. Nah, I think it's okay now.
Yeah, I wouldn't have said it in the middle of it.
No, not in the middle of it, no. I just know for my part, I remember as a kid, because I grew up, my dad and my uncle, my cousins, brothers would give me like old comics to read, like, reading them. So, I would read X-Men and everything like that. And then when I heard they were doing a series, because I remember they did one series right before the animated one came out, that was like a 30-minute one that was almost like a pilot. I guess it never took off. But then when I heard the animated series was coming out, I was like, all right, I'm in. But the opening, your music, I was a kid, had no idea about composers, nothing like that. I just knew, like, I like that. That's cool. Yeah, so I was like, it's like, that's cool. Don't know what it is, but that's cool.
That's the stuff I had been trying to shove down Saban's throat on these direct-to-home video things. I was doing for like really fast, energetic stuff.
Yeah.
And up to that point, they kind of just said, no, it's done. You're not getting it. I'm like, no, I know this can work. This energetic stuff will pay off. It's going to work out.
I'd say you were right all along, but that's just my humble opinion.
To this day, dude, that song, it's like the ESPN. When you hear the ESPN theme song, you already know, oh shoot, where's that coming from?
Yeah.
It's like X-Men. You already know, like, that is the anthem for X-Men. Without there would be no anthem for X-Men.
I miss those anthems.
Yeah.
They've cut them down to next to nothing now.
True. Sadly, because I do know, if I, like, it could be at a convention or someone could be watching it in the house I'm in. If I hear that theme, I'm gonna go at least watch the opening. And it's like, all right, cool. I don't know what episode this is, so I'm just gonna go on now. But I gotta watch the intro.
I already know what happens. They all
Yeah.
survive.
Yeah. Pretty much. I can't sit here and act like I didn't watch the entire series back to front, during its run. So, yeah.
And then also too with not just that, so that got you into the door, and then of course, you're not credited for it on
Yeah,
but,
those are the Saban. Those were the Saban entertainment rules in the day.
Well,
everything, and it's amazing because he can't even play an instrument.
That's how it always is. It's like you've got Steve Jobs. He was the guy, but without the people behind the scenes, we wouldn't have everything that he created or just his ideas.
Yeah.
Without people like you, the hardworking people, we wouldn't have this stuff.
Yeah.
It's like everything invented. I mean, somebody invents something amazing for Apple's a fine example. They're not credited.
Yeah.
And maybe they get a little bonus or a pat on the back, like, all right, you get to stay another year.
Yeah, pretty much.
Thanks for that iPhone thing. That was a really good. That Steve liked that. That was solid.
Yeah, exactly.
Great idea that we're never going to tell anyone that you had. So.
Now, can you explain to Steve how it works? So when he goes out on stage, he looks like he knows what he's talking about. Because Steve, he's a fucking idiot.
Oh man. I mean, it's sad, but it is true. Like the way
totally.
it is. I mean, we can't beat around the bush. We can't lie. It's the truth. Truth is
First 3 times we sent him out, he's holding the phone backwards. We're like, Steve, turn the fucking phone around.
But yeah, same thing. You didn't get credit, but dude, I think without you creating, of course, the animation was there, but the theme song for Dragon Ball and the sound effects for Dragon Ball.
Dragon Ball, I just did the score. I did not write Rock the Dragon.
Oh no! But the score, when you did the score, even without the score, you have to present it to them to show them something.
Oh yeah, they sent me the show. I had already left Saban, but I was still doing stuff for them. I had officially left, and they said we have this show that nobody really gives a damn about, so do whatever you want. So I scored it.
That's awesome.
It was awesome. I never got a single note. I did exactly what I wanted. I scored it at home in the living room of my apartment with a 19-inch tube television, a VHS player, an old Macintosh, and like a couple of synths. That was it.
That's amazing.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, because I when I was speaking to Ray earlier, I remember when Dragon Ball Z came out, that was right at the tail end of when I was watching like Ronin Warriors and Sailor Moon. So I was on an anime kick, but I didn't know what anime was yet. But then I just saw something that same art style. I was like, all right, cool. And then I heard the music, and I remember thinking, oh man, this is really cool. But when they switched over to the other dub and the music changed, I was like, okay, this is different. But it wasn't until recently that I actually knew that was you. I was like, and I think I said out loud, is there anything from my childhood he didn't compose, or was the soundtrack of my entire life Ronald Wasserman? I mean, I'm not complaining that it was you. I just want to know, everything I ever listened to, was it you? And then I saw you did Mummies Alive, and I was like, yes, everything was.
yeah, that was a fun theme. I love that theme.
I'm so glad you do, because that was one of my favorite shows that I was convinced no one else saw but me, because I remember the theme.
Same.
Yeah. But I remember loving that theme too. When it was so much fun that it just got me ready to watch the show. And that was the thing I felt like, even with Power Rangers, was your music set the tone for what we were about to watch.
That was another lucky thing. But the thing that was better about Saban over Deke Entertainment is I wrote about 5 or 6 themes for Deke, and he'd always want more and more. And I'd write different versions, but we'd always end up going back to the very first one. Because then they'd finally test mark it on kids, and the kids would be like, that's what you want.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, that's what we were talking about earlier, like before you came on. It was that, like Power Rangers technically, like, was catered for kids. But like we were talking is that if you grew up watching Godzilla, the old Godzilla movies.
Yeah, sure.
Teenager, adult, all of us watched it, and I don't know about me, what really attracted me to the Godzilla was seeing Godzilla in the costume fighting in a fake. You knew there were fake buildings, but it was just something cool about watching that.
Yeah,
But then when they
safe.
did, and then Power Rangers, when they did that, it was kind of like the same premise, but when you put the music to the opening, it's like that was the thing that just drew you in. When you just heard that opening, that was it. The rest was done.
Yeah, and it's so simple.
Yeah,
it's just a simplest opening.
So how did you compose? Like, okay, the questions my boss wanted me to ask you. His name's Ted. He wanted to know, like, do you have to know what you're gonna write the music for? Do you have to like see it first, or do you actually just go by what they tell you, like written on paper, and then you just kind of stuff pops in your head? Or how do you?
Usually I don't see much. It got easier as the internet evolved, because then they would send a PDF file with some actual drawings or something. But as far as I know, for X-Men and Power Rangers, it was probably a couple of, maybe a picture. So this is our show.
Wow.
It's really that simple. Then later on, you'll get 10 pages sometimes. It'll show each character. It's almost too much information. But as soon as I just read through that thing, I always have stuff around the record, the themes or the idea pops into my head. And sometimes at the worst time, I was talking to the guy who used to run Deke, and I wrote this theme for a show called Shaq's Garage with Shaquille O'Neal.
Oh, yeah.
That was one in the middle of the conversation. I said, I'm hearing it in my head. I just went and hung up on him and recorded my idea real quick. And then called back, and I go, I don't know, man, with the cell phone, it's been dropping calls all day. I have no idea. That the idea down.
That's the go-to excuse. I don't know what happened. My phone just
you know how it is.
Yeah.
So with your creativity, because it's like an artist, it's something you can teach to a certain extent, but other people, it comes natural to them.
Yeah.
Like you said, you could be doing something and automatically something pops in your head, and it's like, okay, I know what I'm doing. It's kind of weird. You can't teach that to everyone. It just comes to them.
It's different for everybody. Some people labor over it. Some people listen to 100 things and then try to find some common thread amongst what they listen to that sounds something like it and come up with an idea. For me, it hits me like a fucking frying pan. But it's also gone like that. So I have to record it right away. And sometimes when I'm in the car and I record it and I listen back to it later, I'm like, what did I mean? Because you're driving and bumping and I'm trying to sing. And and at first I'm doing the drum part. Now I'm doing the bass part. Now I'm doing the lead part. Now a few lyric ideas. And then finally it comes back and I go, okay, that's what I meant. Now I know what to do.
Wow. That is incredible.
It's just what I do. Other than that, I run into walls. And
I mean, everyone has their thing, and that's clearly your thing. And again, we can't complain. It's kept us entertained pretty much our entire lives.
Yeah.
Was that your similar process for like VR Troopers? Because that was another.
That was so simple. They said we need a theme for VR. I'm like, we are VR.
Again, I'm not complaining. It was simple. I loved it. So.
That was the only part that originally came up for that. And I said, oh boy, that's short. I got to build around that whole thing. There's 1 second. There's the hook. We are VR. Now what do I do?
Wow.
That's incredible that you can do that though. It just comes to you like that though.
Yeah, it's I've hung up on a lot of people, and that's the absolute truth.
Wow, that is
I've hung up on famous people and powerful people, and that's the good part about cell phones. They just drop the signal.
Yeah, or you went into a tunnel. One of the two.
Yeah, I'm in a tunnel.
If you get an idea now, by the way, don't feel bad. Just like we'll just edit it out. Okay.
You came up with another great idea for another intro for a song.
I think I'd be honored if you came up with a great idea when you were talking to us. I wouldn't even care anymore.
Wait, let me hang up.
So getting back to everything that you have done, I mean, that's gonna be hard to pick from, but
for sure,
you've gone from doing cartoons to actual TV shows, like you were talking about, where you worked with Bertinelli.
With Betty White and Valerie Bertinelli.
Yeah. That one, I watched that one. I'm gonna admit I watched it because my wife watched it, and of course, okay, I'm an old man. I'm 45.
Fuck you.
Hey, I'm gonna say I had a crush on Valerie. You know what I mean? So, I think at one point we all kind of had a crush on Valerie. You know, but to get into work with on that show, and then knowing Valerie, and then I mean that is just so cool that you got to meet
It
her.
is weird.
Yeah, I mean, how was that?
It
Like
was
when you first got to
that
meet them.
That show brought it. Oh, it was great. I mean, I remember being a little boy and watching Betty White on Password with her husband.
Yeah.
And and now I'm teaching. I'm into the show, and now a few years later, I'm teaching Betty White how to drum.
What?
I needed to drum. It's a great day.
Oh, that's amazing.
Oh, man.
Because
That is
the director has all the power. So it's
right.
The stage is, I don't know, about 200 feet wide with all the bedroom, the living room, all that. Betty and I are down on the side. She's like, all right, show me how to drum. So I sit down and I don't even make a sound because they're rehearsing down at the other end. And then she gets on the drum. She's like, am I doing this right? And I said, yeah, that looks good. She's like, I can't hear you because she was losing her hearing. I said, I said, it looks good. She goes, I'm sorry. I go, you're doing great, Betty. I hear, shh. And then she goes, it's me. And they said, take a break. And everybody left us alone. And I got about 20 minutes to teach her how to drum. Nobody fucked with Betty. If Betty wanted to do something, she was the queen.
That's awesome. That is so awesome.
But the show brought in all these other people I watched as a little boy. Bob Newhart and Mary Tyler Moore.
Yeah.
Dang.
I mean, they had so many guest stars on that show, and almost all of them were great.
Yeah.
A couple of them were just not happy people.
Fair enough.
It's always you got to weigh the good and the bad. You got to
for sure.
give and take. But dude, that is freaking awesome. I mean,
it's been amazing.
So when you got the phone call for that, was it just kind of like you already knew you were going to be doing that, or they just kind of?
A friend of mine who is a great musician. He's been Rod Stewart's guitar player for like 15 years now. And a great songwriter. And he called me and he said, an old friend of mine is producing the show with Betty White and wants me to write a theme. Will you play piano on it? And we'd played in bands for years. So he sends it over. I put piano on it, send it back. I said, so tomorrow when they reject your theme, call me and I'll write. So, and then that night I just wrote 3 themes really fast. And then the next day he called me, said, yeah, you got any better ideas? And I said, I have 3, you can send them right now. And send it over. And he goes, they love that one. They just want like a drum thing put on. There's going to be something spinning like Happy Days. So do it like a triplet drum thing. I put that on and it said, come on over and do the ba-ba-bas with me and we'll be done. It's like an 8-second theme or 10 seconds.
Yeah.
That's
dude.
That's just amazing. So when they don't like it, call me back.
Yeah. When they don't like yours, just call me back. I got you covered.
Man,
and then they said, we love the theme. You guys interested in doing the score? Well, of course.
Man.
Wow.
So freaking cool, man.
Yeah, and that led to almost everything TV Land did. It was fun. It did that, and the show was Cedric the Entertainer. Talk about a talented guy. Jeez.
Oh yeah, Soul Man.
The Soul Man.
Yeah,
nice.
That is so cool. Like I'm fanboying over here, and I'm just trying.
Yeah, he was great.
Yeah.
And then he worked with great people. So I got to work with CeeLo Green, wrote a choir piece for Cedric and CeeLo to do. That was another hang-up call. I remember that one. the producer had caught on by then. Like, every time I'm telling you this shit, you hang up on this. I've got the idea, Bob. I've got the idea.
No, you know what though, dude? I'm right there with you because it's like you kind of have to get at the moment do it, because if not you're gonna forget. And
it's like most beautiful woman in the world walks by and goes, I want you tonight, or she's gonna walk right away, so you've got to immediately drop everything you're doing.
Gotta look at your friends and say, all right, y'all see y'all tomorrow.
You just disappeared.
He's like, yeah, of course I did. Did you see her?
Oh man. So when you came up with like majority of the stuff, like you said, they just come to you, tell you an idea, and then pretty much you just
Yeah.
it
On the
automatically.
Shaq's Garage thing, they just sent 2 pages on what the characters were. And then you find a way to come up with a clever rhyming scheme. Once you have the melody down and the chorus, the big hook, now you've just got to fill in a few verses on that one because it was a minute long, I think. So you just go through and find a way to make it fun and sort of rhyme, but not rhyme, but be sort of clever, just a little different.
So you can get that catchiness in the head.
Yeah.
Make people want to constantly think about that theme song.
Yeah, and come up with some line from the verse that they remember. Like in the long version of Power Rangers, everybody's always that they only use their weapons for defense in the second verse.
Yeah.
That wasn't the line I thought, but fine. That seems to be the one that stuck.
Nice.
I do remember absolutely loving the Zeo theme when that was like the one time I said, like, I think I like this better than the original. I'm still in the 50-50 for both, but I remember the Zeo theme just from the start.
Yeah,
like when Zeo started from the start, I was like, because I figured at some point, okay, they're gonna change the theme at some point, especially when they got new, uniforms, everything. All right, they're gonna change the theme, and then the Zeo theme started. I was like, I have no complaints. This is amazing. So again, like I said, soundtrack of my childhood, and I'm so grateful for it.
And there was some other good ones. The only really horrible one was one I think it was the Mystic Force rap theme.
Oh.
Which
I gotta admit that wasn't one of my favorites.
No. I was on a panel with those people. I said, "What's it feel like to have produced the only part of this entire franchise with the one theme that absolutely everybody hates across the board, except people who are deaf? Deaf people love that theme you picked. I mean, really, they love it. They love it. You know why? Because it sucks, and you're doing them a favor."
Oh man.
Sorry.
I thought they would be laughing. They weren't laughing. I was laughing. They could have said, that thing you wrote, how does it feel that you wrote the worst thing ever? I would have gone like, well, it happens, right?
Everyone's humor is different, but I would have laughed. Yeah.
Yeah, because none of it's precious. None of it. I mean, it's just day job.
Yeah.
So I kind of get the vibe. The show that Charlie Sheen did.
Oh yeah, 2.5 Men.
Yeah, 2.5 Men, where he just writes little jingles and stuff like that.
Yeah,
that I always thought that was kind of made up, but that's pretty much what you do is get to make jingles for shows and commercials and stuff. And man, that is so crazy. Did you picture yourself that you would be here to this day?
No, I was supposed to be a rich rock star by the time I was 23. I was working with this great singer, and it was definitely going to happen. And then over the years, I just got, I was gifted with the constant reminder about how difficult it is. I mean, I didn't think, oh yeah, I'm going to be, at first I thought, I'm going to be famous by the time I'm 22 and probably retire at 25. And at 27, I'm like, dropping off drugs for somebody without even knowing it, coming back with cash so I can, so I can have some studio time.
Oh man.
Wow.
Going back to a guy's house who I left and he was clothed, and now I'm back with his money and he's naked in bed and says, bring me the money. So I throw it at him and say, I'm in your studio. I've earned my 2 hours in the studio.
Hey, that's a movie right there.
That is, yeah.
Like a movie like that. That'll be a movie right there.
So when I was talking to Eddie, I said, your road has been very different than mine.
It's like, I thought I'd be where you're at currently, but didn't quite get there.
It just didn't quite go that way. And I don't have 22 cars. Or 2.
So when the first time you got to meet Eddie, was it like you already knew you were going to meet him, or was it like?
We were going to watch the movie that we had a song in with Valerie, and then I heard psst, psst, and he pulled me in the kitchen and took me to the freezer. He pulls out a Ziploc bag and with a bone in it that says "not for soup," and he said, "You know what that is?" And I said, "No." He goes, "It's my hip bone," and then we just hit it off.
Oh man,
that's an introduction.
He said hi. We only had one rub at the beginning because I didn't think I needed to tell him I knew what band he was in. You know,
yeah.
And then he goes, "Well, you know, I was in a little band called Van Halen." I said, "Absolutely, I know everything about you and who you are and everything you've done." But I said, "I got to admit, I'm not a fan. I like Black Sabbath."
Oh man!
And I think that's why I ended up hanging out with him for 3 months, because nobody talked to him that way. And I was like,
yeah,
I like that hot for teacher shit, but I like Warford's better. Sorry.
Oh, dude, that's freaking cool.
He's probably like, he said that to my face. I like this guy. I like this guy a lot.
He might just tell me when my hair looks bad too, like everybody else.
Oh man!
Or if I have something stuck in my teeth.
It's like, huh? A guy who's honest with me. Eddie, that's rare.
Eddie.
And that's the thing. That's the thing too. It's a catch-22. You know, you could be honest with people. Some people don't. They're either gonna like you because you're honest, or they're not gonna like you.
Oh, there's some that you are just not honest with. You are not honest.
Yeah.
Never.
Yeah.
No.
Sadly,
they are perfect all the time.
Of course they are. You know,
you look perfect today. Absolutely perfect.
Not a thing wrong with you. Nothing at all.
Is that a new wig?
So, getting back to when they approached you to do Always and Forever.
Yeah, that was a good day.
So did you just like get a phone call, or was it an email, or
how? No, Simon shot me an email and said, "We'd love to have you do it." And I tried to stay calm, and I waited 3 minutes to answer. I was thinking, gosh, I don't know if they're going to get the font. I was going to use like a 90-point font that said yes, but I didn't know if that would translate to whatever they're using in New Zealand. So it might come out.
Fair enough.
Like they'd go like, "What did he say? Can't see it." So no, it'll be good. And then it was going to start in August, and I think it arrived around December 6th or 7th. And then I just, we had about a 3-hour meeting online where we spotted the show, went through the whole thing. He gave me his notes. And then I erased all those and then did what I wanted. No, I listened. He had great notes. I'm joking. Nice. And then I worked from then until straight through the holidays, took off Christmas Eve, New Year's Eve. It was like the old days and just plowed through that thing. So when they all came back from break from Christmas, and said, "How are you doing with it?" I'd say, "Here's the whole thing."
Wow.
And then they just he had some notes that took about 2 hours. The Nickelodeon had 6 pages of notes, but they were all good. And it took maybe 4 hours. It was nothing.
Nice.
That's so cool.
That's so freaking cool, man.
I was panicked at first when he said, "They've got a lot of notes coming from Nickelodeon." I'm like, you know, at the beginning, we like right before the music comes in, we love what you did there. But then there's a sound you made, and could we do something more like Britney Spears or REM or something? And you're going, oh dang. When you get notes like that, no, it was great. It was nothing. Can you change one note here? It literally came down to that. Can the note go up instead of down? Right at the end when Min's having her flashback with her mom. They said, if the note goes up, it'll be more positive. I'm like, God damn, you're right.
So before that, of course, they approached you for Shattered Grid.
Yeah, Shattered Grid was, I thought that was really going to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the comics, Shattered Grid's still continuing on comics.
Oh, yeah.
It's freaking doing phenomenal in the comics. You know, that would have been awesome if they were to eventually bring it back into live action. That would be, I think, would be the best thing.
Somebody should have grabbed it.
Yeah,
I think Disney still owned it when that was going on, so that wasn't going to happen because Disney needs to think of it. I think.
Oh, okay, I got it.
Those giant corporations, they like it to come out of their
idea,
people under contract,
out of their think tank, essentially.
Yeah, out of their think tank. So, but that was fun. It's the first time I ever met Jason.
Really?
Oh, dang.
Never met him.
Oh, wow. And
he had no idea I did the theme. So we cleared up a lot that day. Like, oh, I thought Hyman Shuki wrote that. I said,
He's like, yeah, a lot of people do.
all the banks think that.
Yeah, I remember hearing the music for Shattered Grid, and I was really hoping that was gonna be a thing because it looks so epic, like, you know, from the music and the look. And I was so sad, but I do love the comics though. I can't complain because the comics are great. But I was so hoping that would take off. Like you said, it looks so good. It looks so good.
Yeah, I was thinking this absolutely is gonna go. It's gonna take off. It has to, and that was that.
But I will say when Once and Always premiered, I watched it just misty eyed because along with, you know, the action and everything, your music, it felt like it was just a continuation of the original series, which was just made it home for me. Because my mom is a gigantic fan of Power Rangers too. We both watched it when I was a kid. And so I texted her, I was like, you gotta watch it. You gotta watch it. It's just like the show. You're gonna love it. She said, and she watched it that night, called me later. I cried. It was so beautiful. I was like, I told you. Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah.
I know people were really critical of it online. I would just hear from other people. But
right.
I didn't go looking for any of that stuff.
Nah, man. And that's the thing. You're not gonna be able to please everyone. And that's the thing
Yeah.
that's kind of sad, especially with the internet. But you know, the people who really are true fans and they're going to like it. Mm-hmm. Same thing with Star Wars. You're getting the people who don't like this part of Star Wars. They like this. They don't. Do you know what, man? Be happy. They're creating stuff that you love. Okay, yeah, it didn't come out the way you wanted, but you know what? They're still giving it to you. Be happy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
How about this? We won't do anything.
Yeah. Like, yeah, it's like, and that was my thing with when people were complaining about Once and Always, because I was like, what more did you want them to do? It felt so much like the show we all grew up on, just continued, man. Like, because like you said, even like the music was even there. What did y'all want them to do in this series? It was great. It's a great special. It was a tribute to it.
Yeah, you got to leave your brain behind and just go take the ride like any film.
Yeah, and that's what I think sometimes like fans do get wrong. Is like, I think it's like you got to remember, you just got to have fun sometimes. It's not always about the critical heaviness of it. It's just fun sometimes.
Yeah, and they're unaware of all the politics and the people involved and the restrictions with the budgetary.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, for sure.
Time crunches and what they have to deal with. My job's much easier.
Right. I did want to ask because you stopped within space, but then you came back for Power Rangers SPD. How did that conversation come about?
Disney called and said we really want to get back into the rock thing again.
Oh, wow.
So we're looking for some energy. And I said, okay. And that took just an afternoon. And then they ran it through all the channels. And I remember I was out of town and they called and said, when you get back in town, can you just add a siren?
That's great.
Absolutely.
That's great.
No, that'll wreck my art. Yeah.
So it took you one day to put that together. Dude, that is phenomenal.
That is insane to me because that's another favorite theme of mine. I was like, and it took him a day. Are you kidding me?
God, man.
Yeah, that was a really fun one to write. I like that one.
Yeah,
it took me up is at the very end of it because there's stacked vocals. I kept hearing "Go STD," which you will now hear for the rest.
Well, now I'm going to hear it.
But I did not say that. It's just one of those things when you stack enough tracks, you're like, oh, is there a guitar in there? No, there's no guitar. It just happens to sound like it. It's a trick.
And now, no matter how many times I hear it, I'll never not hear STD.
Yeah. Go sexually transmitted.
This is the different Power Rangers.
These are the ones we don't tell the kids about. These are the bad Rangers. They don't brush their teeth or bathe off. Oh yeah, they get around. They morph into a lot of things.
So what projects are you working on now?
Well, I was the hell was I working on? Oh, there's a couple things that were already slated to probably start, but there's the writer's strike going on. So
right,
I go to the beach.
Nice.
I'm actually there's I've done reality television stuff, and they'll probably want more. But other than that, everybody and everyone I know is out of work.
Dang.
Oh man,
That's it.
Yeah.
It's done. And if they ended the strike tomorrow, it would still be at least
A couple of
at
months to
least
get back on
5
track.
months, about 5 months, because they have to reschedule all the shooting, which is enormous. All the logistics with that, where they're going to shoot. I mean, it's a tremendous amount of pre-production work. So they're going to have to start over from scratch and then start shooting stuff, and then it'll start getting delivered. But this fall is going to be all reality from what I hear.
Well, I ain't watching TV, so
Yeah.
yeah.
Good for Netflix. They're going to probably buy more films from poorly dubbed films.
Yeah.
But they are, once you get used to it, it's like the old Godzilla films. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Look out.
That's true.
That couldn't have been worse.
It couldn't have been. And I think I was telling someone, like, because even with the new Godzilla films, it was like but that's kind of the charm of it. Like it kind of doesn't make sense. That's kind of why I love these new Godzilla films. Like, the story doesn't make any sense. When did the story of Godzilla ever make sense? I'm sorry, I missed that movie.
Yeah, hello.
Oh man,
and I think it's the sound of an elephant slowed down.
Oh, is that what it is?
I think my
I'll never not hear that now.
Yeah, I think it's an elephant slowed down.
Oh
wow!
And put a bunch of reverb on it. And everything was just naturally distorted back then, so I don't think they meant it to sound that bad. They were probably just recording it, and said we finally got the elephant to do it.
That would be ironic. It'd be ironic because, like, that's not the sound we were going for. It becomes one of the most iconic sounds in all of like cultural history. So
everybody knows that sound.
Yeah, for sure.
That is pretty cool that you get to do this kind of stuff. Like I love the arts, music, all that kind of stuff. I mean, like I said, without you guys, we wouldn't have any of this stuff. Without any of that, our childhood wouldn't be where we'll be able to do what we're doing today, getting to interview you and talk to you about the work you've done, how you affected us growing up. Without that music, I don't think those shows would have done what they did.
No, without that music, I'd be the guy directing you to the wrong aisle at home.
But like I said, man, you've done an awesome job on that stuff.
Thank you.
Me.
Yeah,
it's been fun, and the fun continues. It's just a pause from it right now. It didn't really affect me I didn't think about it when the strike started, because immediately the following Monday I got called to do reality show. So I went, well, I guess I'll just, and then they had all they needed. So
that was it. Yeah.
Okay, go to the beach.
Well, I'll definitely say for my part, like growing up, because I got heavier into music the older I got, and when I was looking back on a lot of that music, that especially that you did, because when we were discussing possibly getting you on the show, I was like, man, what else did he do besides those? And then I just looked at your catalog. I was like, there's no way he did all this stuff that I listened to and watched as a kid. There's no way. And then I was like, that was him. It was all amazing. And that's what I want to say, man. You were the soundtrack of my childhood, and you made it awesome. And I can't thank you enough for that, because I know, aside from my mom, I'm sure the rest of my siblings and my dad were probably pretty sick of hearing the Power Rangers theme every single day at the exact same time. But forget it. I was going to watch it. They couldn't stop me. So
I've heard plenty of dad stories. Like, my dad started saying, go to hell. Get already.
Well, my dad didn't mind because it kept me shut up for 30 minutes, and he knew he always knew where I was. Power Rangers on, yeah, okay, he ain't moving for 30 minutes. I can go do something else.
I'm gonna go have a beer in the garage.
Yeah.
That is so funny.
Yeah, those were great times, and it was great that they were doing the 1-minute themes for things. I mean, it was just a whole different world. It wasn't necessarily better. It was just different, and it was interesting.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, they need to go back to those things. I mean, that's the thing too. I mean, you look at Hollywood, and they're going back to a lot of original stuff, because, and this is the thing, if Hollywood was smart enough, they would do that, because you got to factor in, we all got kids now.
Yeah.
Our kids who we had showed them those cartoons, now they're showing their kids those cartoons. So it's a whole domino effect. So,
Yeah.
I mean, all you can do is try to do the same stuff. But, I understand Hollywood wants to change things, but sometimes why are you going to fix something that ain't broke?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that was the intent on that first Power Rangers film that I didn't get. We were going to do, the music was exactly like the TV series. It was a 90-minute episode. That's what that thing was going to be like. They did with Batman in the 60s.
Mhm.
Yeah.
They made a movie. It was just it was the same thing. It was just an hour and a half long instead of
Right.
30 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they got too involved in changing this and changing that, and it just didn't work the same. You
Yeah.
needed that cheese factor to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
That's what makes it go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That
Yeah.
that cheesy factor is what keeps it, what it was. Like I just saw a movie with Jennifer Lawrence, and it was kind of like one of the reviews I put on there was, it's like they took Risky Business and they took Can't Buy Me Love and they just kind of threw it in a blender and they came out with this movie, and it was kind of a little bit of everything, but it was a good movie.
Yeah.
Because the premise, you could relate to old school stuff like that. And like I said, just that's all they have to do. I mean,
Well, now it's going to get weird with AI because that's going to start writing stuff.
Yeah.
dude, that's to me, that's just, we were talking about that before you came in, and we were like, dude, that's opening Pandora's box, dude. That's that's
sure.
Skynet right there. Because once it starts thinking for itself, it's thinking what you tell it to think. But once it gets started thinking on its own, and there's no telling what.
It's not going to be very hard for a computer to be brighter than us. We haven't done that well.
Yeah.
We used to, but we kind of slowed down.
A little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit. But yeah, I mean, that's the thing too. The AI, that's the thing I don't like to a certain extent either. Like I said, there's writers. I know writers, comic book writers, and the regular writers and stuff like that. I mean, I stand with the writers. I believe, it's fair, man. I mean, because like I said, you can't teach the computer what a human brain has. You can't teach a computer what you can do. Like you come up with the music you come up with. You know what I mean? It's like that's a talent you can't teach.
Way.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's writing pop songs, but that's easy because a majority of the production sounds the same. It's the performer brings lyrically and with his or her performance. That's the thing that separates that same exact beat and the same exact start of every song. Yeah. And then the brilliance comes through. At the beginning, you're like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, you're
go.
Well, and with that, I mean, because look at something like we pointed out, like with Power Rangers, part of it was the cheesiness of it. I mean, you can and that's one thing that kind of helped make it so good because it was a reality escape. You can you can write a great story, but sometimes you just want something that'll just entertain you for a little while, and you want to see a story where the good guys win, because real life sometimes it's kind of terrible. I want to see a story where the good people succeed. So I'll watch my fantasy. Thank you very much. So
no, I think that's a great way to put it. It definitely takes the edge off of
reality
growing up, especially like I did, not the nicest places. Just
let you escape reality for a little while. I mean, because you're going to go right back to it any second now. Might as well just have a few minutes of an escape of it.
Yeah, exactly. Because as soon as it's over, your dad's going to go, "Come in, Tommy."
Yep. It's like, boy, did you clean your room? The show's off. Go clean your room. Yes, sir. It's like, and I'm back.
I have your next assignment when you return.
There you go. Yeah. Sounds about right.
See that toilet? I know you're only 4.
No, he would have let me do that. He'd have been afraid I'd fall in. It's like, oh, good grief, boy, get out of there. I became smarter later in life.
Really, if you're 4 years old and you drown in a toilet, that's just mother.
Just imagine that mental image in my head. My dad just standing over me. It's like, what? How? How did that happen?
How did you drown in 6 inches of water with a curved bowl?
My mom coming in. What did you do? I found him like this.
I swear it wasn't me. My hands are wet because I was.
Oh man.
Well, now we have enough for dinner.
Yeah. Oh man, my parents are probably gonna watch this to be like, we never did that to you.
He made us sound evil.
So just a disclaimer, I'm kidding, Mom and Dad. These are
Sorry, Mom
jokes.
and Dad, sorry. He's just joking around. It's got nothing to do with what he told me. Nothing.
Oh man, love it. I love it.
This
stuff you guys did to him.
Yeah. This is so much more fun than I thought it was gonna be.
It's gotta be. You gotta make them fun.
Oh man. Oh man.
Ron, thank you for taking the time for today to come into our show. We really appreciate it. Like I said, man,
I had a great time.
Oh, dude, we had a great time.
Yeah, this was so much fun. You are a joy to talk to.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Well,
it's all fake. Bastard.
That's okay. Just makes you one of my best friends. If you're gonna call me that, I should invite you to my wedding.
I like everybody.
Oh man, I gotta love it.
Yeah.
Like I said again, thank you for coming on to Countdown City Geekcast. Hey guys, go like and subscribe. We're gonna have some more awesome guests on the show. Also, don't forget WrestleCast. Tommy, you want to give them your time? And
yeah, we should be on live tomorrow for the WrestleCast. We'll be discussing, I think Impact has a show, and we'll be talking about RCW in San Antonio this coming Sunday.
Sweet. And Ron, do you have anything you want to promote?
Now, I'm working on a video game called The Next World, which will be out in February of next year.
Okay.
If it isn't, then I'll be in jail for murder because I'm going to kill the developer. I'll be almost 6 years in at that point.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Okay.
It's great.
Okay.
Big RPG game.
Oh,
great.
I love RPGs. I'm in already.
Yeah, great story. It's really, really great.
Okay.
Awesome. Well,
that's all I've from, and until the writer strikes over that.
Yeah,
that's it.
Well, once it comes out, if you want to come on the show and talk about, what you did to it, how you affected the game and what you put into it, that would be awesome. If you want to come back and talk about it,
great.
That'd be great. Okay, sweet.
That would be awesome. Yes.
Wonderful.
All righty, sir. Well, thank you very much. And we'll
catch you guys. And thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, sir.
You guys have a great day.
Take care.
All right.